I want to listen to that again. I want to listen to that again because I had a stressful day. I had a really stressful day. I've been having a stressful last couple of days. I'm going to hit stop, and we're going to all listen to that together again. You know, every Wednesday, well, what should be every Wednesday, I like to speak my mind in podcast form. Oh, man, that made me feel good, man. That made me feel good. Thank you to Rob Scallon for making that beautiful, beautiful podcast intro. I really appreciate it, man. And like I said, I had a stressful last couple of days. A lot of events occurred. A lot of events transpired. A lot of incidents took place. And I have no idea what I'm going to talk about today, but we're going to just go ahead and see if I can just ramble as if you guys were a psychiatrist, psychologist, therapist. I really don't know the difference between what those things are. A psychiatrist, a psychologist, and a therapist. I'm not sure. Maybe it feels like a therapist doesn't have to have as much schooling. Feels like if you're a therapist, you can just kind of be like, yeah, you know, I do therapy. People say I'm therapeutic. People say that talking to me is an exercise in therapeutic harmony. Now I'm just fucking trying to use big words and sound smart, which is ridiculous because, fuck, man. God damn it. I say it all the time, like one of my least favorite. There's two things I don't like about this whole music shit, man, and one of them's happening right now. How can I make this better? Oh, okay, hold up. Two things I like the least about doing music. One, if you're the artist, you have to go and like shop for clothing. If you want to do a new music video, if you want to do a photo shoot, which by the way, a photo shoot is also not necessarily my favorite thing, although last one I did I had fun. That's besides the point. Two, things I don't like, shopping for clothes and trying to do fashion-y stuff. And B, I like one and B. I don't know. Did I say A? I don't know. I got a lot of things on my mind. But B, and much more importantly, even though it's a very, very small hassle in the long run, I fucking hate cables and wires. I hate keeping them organized, but even more so, I hate untangling them. So I'm my own worst enemy when it comes to cables and wires. Because when I'm done with them, I just fucking ball them up and throw them in the corner. Whereas most professional musicians, professional audio engineers, they fucking wind them up into a perfect little coil. And when they get them the next time, it's never tangled. It's always perfect, and they can just get it. But I'm so lazy, or just not. It's not that I'm lazy. It's that I don't like fucking with cables. So I don't fucking put it back right, and then when I go to get it again, inevitably the headphone cables, the headphones tangle with the quarter inch tangle with the USB is protected with the MIDI cable. Now here, boom, boom, ba-doom. You know what I mean? I hate dealing with fucking cables, and right now I'm dealing with it. Hear the little sound of it right there. That's the sound of the cable untangling. I'm just gonna fucking sing today. Sing today, sweet cable tangle. Too close to another cable. The headphones and the microphone should not be all fucking fucked up. Well, yay. Let's talk about something else, shall we? I've had a stressful week. I had a weird week this week. Something happened that was just one of those, what do they call it, a curveball that life throws you. You motherfucking goddamn cable. Yeah, life just throws you curveballs here and there every once in a while. And this one happened on Saturday. I was on the way Saturday to an event that I did. I don't know if you follow some of my social media shit, and maybe some of you were actually there. I know there were some podcast listeners there. So before I even get into the negative thing, let's start with the positive. This past Saturday, I did a really cool event in Venice, California where I gave out free burritos to people. As some of you guys know, I just put out this song called This One's On Me. Go check it out if you haven't checked it out. It's on my website and Facebook and YouTube and whatever. Spotify, iTunes, most places where you can get music, it's up there. SoundCloud, whether it's free, you got to pay for it. I guess I prefer that you pay for it, you know what I'm saying? But because of that song's about buying stuff for people. Specifically, it's about buying drinks for my brother. But it kind of like the whole idea of the song is that hooking somebody up. And like I said when I announced the thing, it's been many, many years that I've had a fan base. And my fan base has enabled me to not have to get a regular job. They do this by buying CDs and digital downloads and T-shirts and pint glasses and all kinds of various merchandise where I put my name on some dumb shit. And in order to do a little mini payback in honor of the song and in honor of that, this past Saturday I gave away free burritos to anybody who came down and said what's up. And they were delicious, man. There's this company in L.A. If you're not from L.A., there's a company called Kogi. And they do they have a fleet of food trucks. And it's run by Roy Choi, who's like an awesome dude. He's a hip-hop head and a restaurateur. He started the Kogi trucks. He has a bunch of other restaurants in L.A., including the Lion Hotel, where he, because of him, Zoe spends there every Saturday night, and people I know perform there. And we always get good treatment there and shit. So he's fucking awesome. And he gave me a super discount on the burritos, even though it did add up. Certainly fucking added up. But I bought a bunch of people burritos down in Venice and had a good time. It was awesome. So if you're listening and you came, it was nice to meet you. It was nice to make you come. Am I right? No, but it was cool. But I will say, as I picked up my friend AK at his house in Culver City, I was on the side of the street. I was waiting. I was on the side of the street. I had my hazards on, and he was about to come out. He was going to the event with me. He was actually filming the event. And I was like, what would be nice is if I actually parked on the side of the street where AK's apartment building is actually on, because I was on the other side of the street, meaning that if he wanted to come out and get in my car, he'd have to cross a relatively busy street to get there. And I was like, you know what? How about I do something nice for my friend? And conveniently make a U-turn, park on the other side of the street. And what did I do as I did that? I fucking sideswiped a parked car like an idiot. I was talking to the person in my passenger seat, and I wasn't paying quite enough attention, and the back passenger side of my car swiped against the front driver's seat of another car. You can picture that if I'm on the right side of the street and I go to do a U-turn, and so I would end up being parked on the other side of the street. And I tried to go in front of this other car that was parked on the other side of the street, and I just fucking turned in too fast. Nobody was in the car. So I did the right thing. I still feel like I did the right thing. I left a note on the car saying, sorry, my name is Mike. Here's my phone number. I hit your car. The guy called me, and, we settled things, and I hadn't realized, and this is ridiculous, but... But I hadn't paid my car insurance payment, so my car insurance was non-existent at the time, and I ended up having to pay for the damages out of pocket, and which is probably actually a better thing because I paid it afterwards, and now I'm back, everything's good, I'm insured, but I went for a small period of time where I wasn't, just out of pure ignorance, negligence, forgetfulness. Laziness. I just didn't pay the fucking bill. It wasn't even that I didn't have the money. I just didn't pay the bill, and I wasn't insured at the time. The guy, I still had an insurance card, and I gave him my information, but he just went and got it wasn't a big damage. It was all body shit. Like, it wasn't like his car couldn't run. It wasn't like he had to get new mirror and new lights. It was just like scratchies. It was just little scratchies. But so basically he ended up getting the estimate, and it actually was a good thing because my driving record is not so good as it is, and to not have this on my insurance was probably actually, damn, now that I'm thinking about it, in the long run, paying for this $1,500, Jesus, down the drain, man. You make a little mistake, bam, there goes $1,500. Fucking just fucking I just wanted to take a check for $1,500 and tie it to a fucking football and just punt it into the ocean. That's what it pretty much felt like. Not saying that the guy didn't deserve the money, not saying it wasn't 100% my fault, and not saying I should have left without writing the note. I'm saying that I shouldn't have hit the car in the first place. I should have been a better driver, but thinking about it now, I hadn't thought about this yet. You know, I would have had to pay the deductible anyway, and my insurance probably would have went up. So in the long run, I probably actually saved money by paying it out of pocket. Because, y'all, my insurance is high as shit. Regretfully, like 5 or 6 years ago, I got a DUI, and in California, that doesn't leave your record for 10 years. And it's not like a fender bender. It's not like a speeding ticket. Like, I don't even want to go into how much I pay a month in car insurance because y'all would think I was crazy. I was thinking when I had to kind of reinstate my insurance today, I was really looking at it, and I was like, I can't believe that I just don't get rid of my car. Like, it would probably be cheaper for me to sell my car, not pay insurance, and take Lyft everywhere I go. And, you know, most days I just go from my house to the studio, which is like a 5-minute drive, a 10-minute bike ride. You know, so I get some exercise too and save some money. And I might do it. The unfortunate thing in that is it's convenient, man. You know, it was interesting because I got the DUI and I couldn't drive for a year anyway, legally. And then once I was able to, I was kind of too broke to do it anyway. And then I got this big record deal and I had a bunch of money, more money than I ever had. So it was a no-brainer at that time to kind of just pay the money and go for it and be able to drive myself around town to these big head honcho corporate meetings and shit like that. But now I do a little bit less of that and a little bit more of my own thing. So I probably should have recently just started saving money on my car insurance, not by switching to Geico, but switching to hell no. Just switch it. That was a terrible joke. It was that was like a place where you could have improvised a good joke, not by switching to Geico, but switching to my bicycle. That wasn't good either. But you see how that could have been good if I was on the fly thinking of something. You know, it's just the fault of Geico. It's just not a good pun. It's just not a good pun word, you know. So that's what happened there. And, you know, my mother listens to my podcast, so I'm sure I'll be getting an email from her this week. Why did you have car insurance? Are you okay? How's your neck? Are you okay? How hard did you hit the car? That's what happens now. Every week on my podcast, I get the email from my mom giving her opinion on the matter. She gave me an email the other day about her thoughts on, I think it was gay marriage. I guess we were talking about gay. I can't remember what she was talking about, but I digress. I've had a stressful week. But I am going to have a good night. I'm going to go see my friend's comedy show, and I'm excited about that. I did a comedy show this past weekend, by the way. I don't know if I always talk about it on the podcast. I probably don't because I don't do the podcast regularly, although I did last week with my brother. That one last week. This is the first one I've done solo in a minute. But I've been doing a little bit of stand-up, y'all. And some of the shows, you never know what you're going to get, man. This one that my real good friend runs, my boy Brian Swinehart, peace to him. He runs a show on Sunday nights, and I've done a couple of them. But the problem is, one problem with where I'm at personally in stand-up comedy is, you know, I have a fan base. I could fucking announce that I'm doing a show, and I could probably get a lot of people to come. But I don't really want to do that until I'm good, so I don't tell anybody. And I feel bad begging my friends to come, my personal friends. So a lot of times, if every comedian is either like that or some of them don't have a lot of friends or fan base, you get there and really it's just a room where 100 people could fit, and there's 6 people there, and 5 of those people are there because they're on the show. So you know, you just get up there for a few minutes and yap, just like I'm doing now, except maybe be a little bit more focused on some kind of joke, focused on some kind of topic. Focused on some kind of current event, even though I don't really pay attention to current events, y'all. Not really into events that are current. But yeah. I just had a brain fart just now. I don't know why they call it a brain fart. It's more like a brain freeze. Well, I guess brain freeze is what you get when you drink a Slurpee. But a fart wouldn't really be something where you have to stop. I guess when you fart, you do tend to stop everything that you're doing. Like if you're having a conversation and you're actually the one talking, can you like kind of like, you don't really fart while you're saying a word, but maybe you do. Maybe you do and I don't. Maybe some of us have different things that we do. All right, let me hit stop for a second. What's up, y'all? I'm back. It probably felt like I was not really even gone, except for the fact that I said I was going away. You know what I just did? I did a couple things just now. I couldn't think of anything to talk about today. So this is something new that I did on the podcast. I decided to go to Twitter and see what's trending right now. And you know what the top trending thing is? I don't know why the fuck this is the number one trending topic on Twitter I swear to God, it's 4:20 p.m. exactly. Fuck yeah. September 9th, 2015 at 4:20 p.m. The number one topic on the U.S. Twitter is terrible gifts for a 4-year-old. And then for some reason the number one thing is this fucking weird picture of this chick with big boobs. And then you click on it, it takes you to some other like top 20 website, and and it has another like clickbait, and you click on it again, and I just was fooled. You know, boobs are very powerful, and I've talked about this on the podcast before, but a lot of girls that have them really understand their power, and some don't. And the ones that do use them effectively. And the ones that don't maybe overuse them or underuse them. But using them effectively is something that you can do to make a lot of money and get yourself ahead in the world. You know, I've seen it on the internet. I see the way that my own brain behaves. And I've always been confused by boobs because they're really just these big sacks of like fat, and I'm not a doctor. I don't know what's inside of a breast. I mean, I know like when there's a recent baby, there's milk inside of there, but I'm pretty sure on a day-to-day basis, it's not milk-filled. I think it's just fat and cartilage, and it's just this big, dumb thing. And I don't know if any of you guys have ever noticed this, but sometimes you'll be messing with a girl, and after you come, the way that a titty seems a lot different than it was 3 or 10 seconds ago. It seems a lot different. It just, you look at it, and if you're an observational comedian like myself, you'll kind of look at it and be like, why 10 seconds ago was this thing driving me crazy, and now it just seems like an udder. Like it's almost like it might as well just be an udder hanging from a cow that you can milk. Like it's just this flap. It's just this sack of meat. But I guess it's something that's just inherent in us to be turned on by breasts. I wonder if that's societal, or if it's like, I wonder if that's learned behavior. You know, I'm talking about now. I'm talking about in the modern day, in our society where boobs have to be covered up, and you know, you see Janet Jackson's nipple and the whole world freaks out. Like, I wonder if that's something that we just invented strangely, or if that's something that's natural. Because you see in other you know, more tribal cultures, a lot of times the boobs aren't covered up, and I wonder if that's still a big turn on for men in those tribes. Like maybe in those tribes, you know, if everything's exposed, I wonder if it's even a big deal, you know? I don't know, like I said. But anyway, some of the tweets for terrible gifts for a 4-year-old. This person, Jelly Ringo, said, "A happy 5th birthday card. Pound terrible gifts for a 4-year-old." Now, I've seen the greats. I've seen the greats on Twitter. I've seen the great stand-up comedians. I've seen the great poets of our time. I've heard politicians and religious leaders speak, and I've heard a lot of profound things, a lot of humorous things, a lot of cleverly worded anecdotes. And this, a happy 5th birthday card. pound terrible gifts for a 4-year-old, I think is actually one of the most. It's just, I mean, it's Shakespearean. It's Mark Twainian. It's Barack Obamian, Obamanian. I don't know, man. All right. Terrible gifts for a 4-year-old. Fruit-scented permanent markers. An iPhone. $100,000 in student loans. Baby's first pop-up book of knives. Bad credit by using the kid's social security for accounts. That's actually pretty good. Yeah, so I'm not gonna continue reading those. One of the other trending topics is iOS 9. I guess that means that somebody calling me right now, man. I'm turning that fucking phone over. Turn that shit right over right now, fam. The iPhone will finally get a taco emoji with iOS. I'm gonna stop talking about whatever the fucking trending topics on Twitter is. And I think I got a pretty good amount of questions and shout-outs today, so I'm going to start a little early on the questions and shout-outs. I think I can talk a lot about some of the stuff people were talking about in there. Hey, check. How you doing there? Hey, check. Here we go. We got questions and shout-outs. We're going to do the shout-outs first because that's what we always have done. Why would I all of a sudden switch to doing the questions first? Shout-outs. Tricky Suspect. Tricky Suspect. That's suspect is now a very different word than it used to be. But hey, do your thing. Dizzy from Saskatchewan recommends Toast by Azizi Gibson. That's a song. And I actually checked out that song, and I recommend it as well. It's kind of dope. Shout out to Ed from Chicago. Always sending me the funny emails. I appreciate it, Ed. We got Godot Music. Chris M. in Michigan. What's up, Chris? We got Envious. That's E-M as in Michael, V-O-I-U-S, who has a mixtape called Be Yourself. So check that out. Reminds me of the M as in Michael. Reminds me. Me and my friend Or. I have a friend named Or. She's a girl from Israel who I do comedy with. I might have already said this on the podcast, but who cares? We did this little, it was really dumb skit. I might have said it last week when I was talking to my brother, but I acted like I was a fucking Verizon operator, and she called. This is so stupid. And I was like, hello, may I help you? And she's like, yeah, I have a problem with my phone. I was like, first of all, let me get your name. And she's like, Or Mash. I shouldn't be saying her last name or whatever. Her full name is Or Mash. That's just like an Israeli name, I guess. I don't know, man. It sounds like a strange name to us. Us, when I say us, I mean Americans. But that was her name. And I'd be like, oh, can you spell that? And she's like, oh, yes. Or. O as in, oh my God, that dick is so big. R as in, really? The dick is huge. So there's a space, and there's M as in, my God, that dick is enormous. A as in, are you kidding me? With the size of this dick. As you get the point. I was just saying that because it was funny at the time. We're gonna keep the shout-outs rolling. We got Nick from Jersey. Shout out to my man BM Craze. We got Dizzy Dizza. We got the homie J Merck from Poland. Out there in Poland, murking people. We got Vance, a.k.a. Dookie Brains. Shout out to Carl. That's it. No last initial, no from there, no in here. Just motherfucking Carl. We got Alphonse L. Joanna S. in Dublin. What's up, Joanna? Brendan S. from Michigan. I wonder if Joanna S. and Brendan S. are related. They're brother and sister. One's in Dublin and one's in Michigan. When they were young children, their parents split up. One of them was an Irish man. One of them was a Michiganese woman. And now they live very different lives. But when they met together recently, not only did they look similar, but they had a lot of similar interests. And they became really good friends. But Brendan S. from Michigan recommends Future Talk by Joe Hertler and the Rainbow Seekers. Nick, which was a cool band, by the way. Nick, whose SoundCloud is soundcloud.com/YONIKKALOL or NICKGAUNA.bandcamp.com. We got Dre from Jersey and his band at Living Time Machines. Mujo We got Cornelius, a.k.a. King's Eyes. We got the one and only. Don't misspell his name. Don't missay his name. The legend of the Waxes podcast. The Waxes podcast legend when it comes to names. Nate the Plate. We got Jackie Sweetleaf. Shout out to you, Godzilla. Another shout out going straight to Rain in the Membrane. And then we got my favorite email this week, Amanda from Baltimore, who does not like T-Rex as a guest. One of the few emails I got does not like T-Rex as a guest, and I had to make that known in case T-Rex hears this. We got an anti-fan mail letter from Amanda from Baltimore. She does not like T-Rex as a guest. Adamantly, she doesn't like T-Rex as a guest at all. Not only to add insult to injury, she's from Baltimore, Maryland, and T-Rex is from Maryland too. Even with their similar upbringings geographically, similar geographical roots, nearby homesteads, still adamantly hates having T-Rex. Hearing his, even the fucking sound of T-Rex's voice makes Amanda from Baltimore just instantly hit pause and then stop the app on whatever app she's listening to the podcast on. Hates that motherfucker. All right, we got Steve E. Steve E recommends a documentary. It's called Her War, which is a documentary about a group of women fighting against ISIS. I got to admit that I didn't watch the documentary, but it sounds really interesting. So, Steve E., I'm going to check that out when I get a chance. All right. First letter comes from Ed from Chicago. Wax, hurry up, man. I'm jonesing for the new music. But I do know that it will be worth the wait. I hope all is well with you. Well, I hope it's worth the wait. I hope you enjoy it, Ed. And I wanted to answer this question because I'm with you, man. I told you guys this album was going to be out forever ago, and then forever ago, then a little less forever, then even more forever, then and forever and it plus infinity, and forever and plus infinity plus one. I've been saying this shit was going to come out. And it's done, man. The music is done. But I'm going to tell the podcast listeners what's happening. First of all, the artwork is 95% done. It should be literally done tomorrow. And then we have to start making the CDs, which doesn't take that long, and making vinyl, which takes longer. But I'm actually using, even though I'm putting this album out independently, I'm using a distribution company, and this distribution company is actually sending some of the albums to stores. And that process takes a long fucking time, apparently. I didn't really know. I don't know. I've never done an album that went to stores. But this one's going to be in, it's not going to be in a lot of stores, but I'll let you know which ones it's in when it comes out. But it just takes like an extra month to do that. So it's still going to be a month out before it comes out. But the music's done. I think it's really dope. I think it's got tons of good songs on it. So hopefully sooner than later, man. But it's done. And what I need to do in the meantime is try to get some other stuff out. And because I'm already working on the album after that. So maybe you know how I am. I always say I'm going to do something, then don't do it. But maybe this year I'll be a little less lazy and get multiple projects out. I don't know. I mean, I don't have to get that's next one out this year, but it's going to be a summery album. So if I can get it out by spring, maybe do like a mixtape or something and some freestyle videos. We'll try to make it happen, y'all. So just letting you know what's going on, man. And I have really, really apologized for the wait. It shouldn't take this long to put out music. I mean, I could just seems crazy in the modern world that we live in for all this to be happening, but it is what it is. And it's going to be cool, man. The company's awesome, and we're all working together. We're hoping that this thing it'll have some success so I can continue to have my studio and not be homeless. Although I was telling my brother today, like, even if this shit fails, you know, that $1,500 that I had spent on that fucking car today didn't help. But if this fails, I won't lose everything super fast. Like, you know, first to go will be the studio. Second to go will be the car. Third to go will be my apartment. I'll have to get like a split thing with 3 other Craigslist people. And to go will be, you know, my fucking money that I pay to keep up my website and stuff like that. It'll be a solid 6 months before I'm actually homeless. And before then, I think I can find somebody that'll let me live on their couch, so fear not, self. I'll be good. All right, another letter. Yo, Wax, it's Brendan from Tulsa. Are you ever going to make it down here? Tulsa, Oklahoma. I actually never have done a show down there. I don't know that I've done a show in Oklahoma. I did the Warped Tour, I think, in Oklahoma City. I think the Warped Tour stopped in Oklahoma City. I can't remember. I've never done a club show anywhere in Oklahoma now that I think about it. Hopefully I'll make it to Tulsa, man. Sorry about not making it there yet. Anyways, long-time listener, first-time emailer, blah, blah, blah. Dick riding praise, blah, blah, blah. Thanks. Anyways, to my question, what do you think about stereotypes surrounding certain artists? Like, I'm a Grateful Dead fan. And when I'm out wearing a Dead shirt and dudes ask me to buy weed from me or try to sell me acid, being from a musical family, I just like the music, so I'm not the one to do that shit, and I have no problem with it. I think it's kind of funny people ask me that. Earlier, I was reading an article about Fish, and it was saying that every Fish fan is a druggie and stoner trash. That's a shitty magazine, which I find, or website or blog or whatever you read that says that, like, that's the kind of writing that makes me hate writers, Not all writers, but critics mostly, which I find excessive to call someone trash, but regarding the drugs, stereotypes have to come from somewhere. But I find it immature to generalize an entire group of people because of some of them. Maybe I'm just biased. I like these two bands, but everyone is entitled to their own opinion, so I try to respect that. Anyways, hope that makes sense. Thanks for taking time to answer this question. By the way, your verse on the Lies song with Spose was tight. I appreciate that, man. Yeah, like, the ultimate, like, hey, man, sweet, the ultimate band like that is going to be the Grateful Dead. The Grateful Dead are kind of, don't quote me on this. I don't know if this is true. I know they probably didn't invent the tie-dye t-shirt, but they certainly invented the popularity of it. The popularity of the tie-dye t-shirt was definitely brought about in the Grateful Dead parking lots. And if you've ever been to a Grateful Dead show or a Fish show or any show that's kind of like in that same jam band genre, you've seen that there is some truth to that stereotype. There certainly are a lot of drugs available. There are certainly a lot of people doing drugs, selling drugs. You can smell a lot of patchouli. There's a lot of body odor. All the stereotypes that are associated with the modern day hippie can be seen at those places. So like you said, most stereotypes have at least some place of origin. But, if you're going to walk around with a Grateful Dead shirt, to play devil's advocate, you can like the Grateful Dead or Fish without kind of like, if you don't want to be associated with the stereotypical people who like them, I guess you could not wear the shirt. I don't know. That's playing devil's advocate. To play regular guy that I actually feel in my heart, just brush that shit off, man. Who cares what they say? If you like the Grateful Dead and you want to wear it proud on your tie-dye t-shirt and have your fucking headband that has the Grateful Dead bears on it, and you got your skull. What's it fucking called? That's fucking embarrassing. I can't remember what that guy's called. That's a fake ass Dead fan. I can't remember what that fucking dude's name is. The skull guy. Fuck. Oh, such a fake fan. But I like the music. I'm like you. I guess maybe that kind of proves I'm not with all the hoopla. You know what I mean? You don't need to be with all the hoopla to get to like the music. I don't even need to know what a motherfucker looks like. I don't need to know what the t-shirt looks like. I don't need to know what the name is of this your band mascot. I don't need to see your makeup if you're Kiss. You know what I mean? Doesn't need to happen. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really have a good answer for you, dude. I'm just more upset that I don't remember the Grateful Dead's. And as I talk, all I'm thinking about is what the fuck is that guy's name? There's a fucking name for that guy, man. Now I got to look it up. No, I don't. Forget it. Whatever. Don't worry about it, man. Just do you, be yourself, and brush off the haters. You know what I mean? Just brush them off. All right. Hey, Wax. Chris from San Francisco here. I love your music and just found out about your podcast. I've been binge listening to it for 2 weeks now. Currently on episode 75. Damn. I've noticed that on your No Smoking in the House song, you said You use the base judgments and judge basement line, and the if you're considered hot, then consider me hell, both of which were lines you shared in earlier podcasts. I thought that was pretty cool. That's what's up. Anyway, here's my question. How did you shoot the music video for Coins? Your mouth was moving at seemingly normal pace, while it looked like your hands were moving faster. I might have answered this on the podcast before, but if I did, it was in a very early episode. So this answer is just for you, Chris. And I guess if you just did a binge listen to the podcast, I guess I probably didn't answer it because you might have been like, oh, I just heard that recently in the past 2 weeks. It's pretty simple, actually. What you do is you take the song and you slow the song down to half speed. So when I was doing the video for Coins, if you guys aren't familiar with it, go check it out. Wax and EOM Coins. Hit pause, go check out that video, and then hit play again on this podcast. As I circle around the thing, you're seeing my body move fast and my mouth move at regular speed because when we filmed it, the song was being played at half speed. So I'm moving fast, but my mouth is moving slow while we're filming it because I'm like, eat a dick. Or at least eat a pita chip right after I ski. You know what I'm saying? That's how your mouth is moving when you're filming, but that's just your mouth and your body's moving at regular speed or even faster. So that's what gives that illusion. That's a technique that's been used a lot. I know that some old Missy Elliott videos and Busta Rhymes videos used to kind of do the same thing. So yeah. Yeah, I didn't. And by the way, I didn't realize that I had said those other lines in a past podcast. That must have just that's kind of interesting. That's just kind of goes to show you how I write. Like, I'll just write down weird little lines, and all of a sudden, I use it. You know what I mean? Hey, this next one is by. Hold up. This one is from Frank S. It's very simple, very, very short. Dear Wax, so I dated this girl for 2 years. I lost feelings for her, so I broke up with her. However, she's really hurt, and I feel really bad. Any advice on getting over a breakup? Well, that's a unique type of breakup, because if your pain is only caused by guilt and you know, I see what's going on. You like her enough that you feel bad that she feels bad, but you don't like her enough that you're calling her being like, please take me back. Unless you're just trying to be tough on the on Wax's podcast and act like you don't give a fuck. Act like you're just a real heartbreaker when in reality you're over there looking at her picture. You cut her yearbook picture into the shape of a heart and hugging onto your wall. And you jerk off to it, and then when you're done jerking off to it and you come to your senses, you think about it emotionally and you just cry to it. So this heart-shaped picture of your ex-lover that's covered in tears and cum is something that you look at every day for at least several hours. But if you know, as far as any advice for getting over a breakup, man, the only thing that anybody can do, I was just telling my nephew about this. I got a 19-year-old nephew who went through a breakup, man. He was upset about it. It was his first girlfriend that he loved. And I've had that happen to me multiple times. And the only thing that's going to cure heartbreak is time. That's it. I think there's other things that can help. I'm pretty sure that like going out quote unquote in the field or on the prowl or however you want to call it, and talking to some other people, talking to some other women, or whatever you like, you know. I'm pretty sure that actually helps a little bit too. At the very least, it helps for the moment. You know what I mean? It helps for the moment. It might not help when you're there alone next to that picture. It might not do much good. But you know, when you bring that other girl back to the house, you know, be like, hold on, don't come in yet. Then you go in and like cover that picture up for a little bit, and then you bring her in. During that time when she's there, I bet you won't be. It'll be like a nice little Band-Aid, you know. So I think the only advice I could give is heartbreak only can be cured by time. Sometimes it's a really long time. It sucks, but I think that there's little Band-Aids that you can do, like hang. anything that puts you in the moment. Go water skiing. I don't know why I thought of that first. I've never even been water skiing, but go snowboarding. Go skateboarding. Go play basketball. Go hit on some other girls. Go to your friend's house. But the time that you're really heartbroken, it'll be tough regardless. But if you're at your friend's house just partying and drinking, she'll still be on the back of your mind. You'll still be thinking about her. You'll be wondering where she is, wondering who she's with. You know what I mean? But, if you're with another chick and you're doing physical things with her, I think that for the most part, that'll be a nice little Band-Aid. I don't know. Hopefully that helped, Frank S. I got one more letter for you. All right, you daft bald twat. Do you still even check this email account? I love listening to the podcast every Wednesday. How many different states have you hacked off in? Personally, 0. I've never been to America. I did once jack off in a casino in Latvia, though. Thanks. Daniel B. from Barrow and Furnace, parentheses, England, as if you couldn't tell from the ridiculous town name. I just enjoyed this one because he said how many... I mean, this whole thing was kind of funny to me, and if I had a good English accent, I would have read it like that. But first of all, I've always noticed that British towns have funny names. I might have mentioned that on the podcast before, but more importantly, I've never heard the term hacked off. Like that's for masturbate, hacked off. I've heard of jacked off, I've heard of jerked off, but he said, how many different states have you hacked off in? And I couldn't answer you that. I think the answer for most men is the same. If you said, how many different states have you jerked off in and how many different states have you been to? I think the answer would be definitely the margin of error is not going to be more than 1 or 2. You know what I mean? It's going to be a pretty short margin of error between how many states have you been to and how many states have you jerked off in. Hacked off in. Hacked off just sounds weird. Like, why would you call it that? Like, I mean, at least in the United States, hacked means cut off. Like, jerk makes sense. You jerk it, jack. I mean, that makes me think of, like, the way that you jack up a tire or jack up your car. That's actually kind of similar. Like, that was a terrible sound effect for it. It sounded more like somebody snoring who was just out of breath. Like if you went to sleep immediately after sprinting really far. Or just a fucking pig. I don't know. But I don't know, Daniel B. I've only not been to 3 states in the United States. I haven't been to Alaska. I haven't been to Hawaii. And I haven't been to North Dakota. I'm almost positive, pretty much 100% positive I've at least set foot in every other state in the Union. But I've never been to Alaska. I've still never been to Hawaii. I've always wanted to go to Hawaii. But for some reason, I won't allow myself certain pleasures in life. I don't know what it is, man. Like the period of time I was telling you about earlier when it came to... I was telling the story earlier about how I had a good amount of money when I got that record deal. And, I made a lot of mistakes. And I think the biggest mistake that I made was thinking that life was about work. Life is all about working as hard as you possibly can. And I don't think that that's true. I was lucky enough that during some of that time I got to travel a lot, because I think one of the most important things in life is traveling and seeing new places, especially experiencing new people and new cultures. And I think it's really, really valuable. I think it's undervalued by a fucking landslide in America. We value things. People save up their money for shoes. People save up their money for clothes. People save up their money for a fucking car, and they only take the car back and forth within a 40-mile radius. I know people from my hometown that have never seen another culture other than theirs, except on TV and in movies where it's usually portrayed in some kind of fucking stereotypical way. And I know for a fact, and I'm one of them, dude. I didn't go to a lot of places until I was able to, and that the problem is, unless you're just born wealthy and have like benefactors who will fucking send you places, you get out of high school, you go to fucking college, you get out of college, and you can barely afford your fucking bills. There's no place to get any kind of extra money from to go on a vacation or go, whether that's to relax or whether that's to just check out some other shit. And I think it's a fucking tragedy. And I'm even still to this day, I don't go to enough places, I should go to more. Like, if you have some extra money laying around, you should immediately spend it on going somewhere rather than saving it for some bullshit, because you only get one life. Like, the debtors, the people who put us in debt, have taken over our lives and made us all slaves to our own debt. Most notably being credit card debt and student loan debt. When people get out of college, they have no way to pay for this shit, and they use every last cent they have to pay their basic necessities and pay for these things, and they just stay there in their one place, going to work, then coming back, then going to work, then coming back, and on their little 2-day break, they might be lucky enough to drive to the nearest little coastal area. If you're in Baltimore, you might go to Ocean City, Maryland. If you're in Orlando, you might go to Tampa, If you're in LA, you might go to either San Diego or even Las Vegas for your little 2 days. But it's just this huge shame that with all the available travel, with all the planes and all the trains, that most people don't go fucking anywhere. I'd actually like to see the statistic on this. Like, say there's 400 million Americans. I'd like to see how many of them have ever crossed the ocean. Whether it's Asia or Europe or Africa, wherever it is, how many out of 400 million have ever crossed the ocean? You live for 70 fucking years and you never travel anywhere. And I think that's more common than the opposite. I have people from my hometown that they grew up there. Now they're raising their kids there. And other places are just a mystery. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but I just think it's a shame that as a society, we don't value travel. We don't value discovering other places, discovering different foods, discovering other cultures, discovering what other people talk like and think like and act like, and what kind of rituals they have. I think it's a shame. And I guess it's all kind of based on the economic system. And the whole reason I started to bring this up is because, if you've been listening to my music for a while, my first song on my album, Liquid Courage, shout out to EOM, me and EOM's album, Liquid Courage, that was in 2008. That was 7 years ago. The first song on there, I was talking about how I wanted to go to Hawaii. But then again, I was talking about how if I failed at music, I would just go to Hawaii and drink till I died. I think that was the fucking the optimistic lyric that was in that song. But that was a real dream. That was a real dream. Like, who doesn't want to sit at a imagine, like, it wouldn't be bad if you're like a bartender at a tiki bar that's right next to the beach on Hawaii. Tourists and locals come there. You feed them Mai Tais and pina coladas. Try to get some local tail, and then go to sleep at night. Wake up a little hungover, go surfing or whatever, and then just live like that and kind of take it easy, treat it easy. You know what I mean? That's another way to live. You could do that anywhere. And the beauty is you really could do that anywhere for a little while, then go do it somewhere else for a little while, then go do it somewhere else for a little while. But that's just not the way we're trained to live. And I'm the same way. I got the chains on me too, man. I got the economic chains on my hands, feet, and mind, Constantly thinking about my money. And it doesn't stop, y'all. The mirage, the illusion that they create for you, or that whatever, I don't know if there's a they involved, but you might create it for yourself. You think that when you're completely broke, you think that if you got $10,000, it would change everything and you'd be happy and everything would be awesome, but it's not. You think that once you got to 10, you think that if you had 50, you'd be happy and everything was awesome, but it's not. The reality of the situation is if you have $500 in your bank account, or if you have $50,000 in your bank account, well, let me be realistic. There's an absolute difference between like being able to take care of your fucking basic necessities and not. But once you get up to having $50,000 in your bank account versus having $100,000 in your bank account, like, it's all gonna go away eventually, man. It's all gonna go away, and you're gonna be just as worried about it. You're gonna want more stuff. You're gonna want a nicer house, a nicer car, or whatever you want. It's never ever enough. It's never enough, man. And then the real rich people are the people that are even greedier because they were greedy by nature. That's how they got rich, and they got $1 billion. If you have $1 billion, first of all, nobody needs $1 billion. And if you had $1 billion, why do you need another $1 billion? Now it's just a game. Now it's just this greedy, weirdo game. And that's why I've never been to Hawaii. All right, man. I'm going to stop rambling about that. It's going to be a little bit of a short podcast, man, but I didn't really have much to say, I didn't have a lot of real thoughts this week. So why don't you guys just be safe out there?